Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Mochi Veda Vibhagine Yomavda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanantam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om Om Shanti 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 Om. So I don't think I got any questions over email. Do you have anything for us, David? You mentioned something that you'd like to.
I've been working on trying to refine this question a bit, but we've talked in the past about one of the qualifications is a burning desire for freedom.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I feel like a desire is something that we're trying to minimize or to avoid, like a desire is a bad vasana. So is a burning desire for freedom, is that a good vasana? Is it a vasana? Is it something different? How would you describe that burning desire for freedom?
Yeah, this intense desire for freedom, this huge desire for freedom is definitely a vasana. It needs to grow to become a huge vasana, a spiritual vasana, not only a spiritual vasana, but a vasana to know the truth and to be the truth. So it's a desire for moksha. And it is a vasana, it is a desire, but it is a desire that somehow it has the power to extinguish or to burn, to consume all other desires. And then it leaves from consuming other desires. The other desires, they become fuel for this desire. This is a very nice metaphor or analogy, you know. All the desires are consumed by this fire. So moksha is associated to a burning desire like a fire, because fire consumes fuel. And desires, you know, this mundane, all other desires for security, pleasures, and virtue, they are objects of desire that they are consumed by this bigger, nobler, you know, superior desire that is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger as it keeps destroying all other desires. In which way this desire is going to burn all other desires, going to kill all other desires? Because it's going to grow to the extent that it's going to pull the energy that was before, you know, given to certain objects of desires, and to the extent that this inquiry grows in the mind of the Vedantin, he understands there was not really value, you know, absolute value in this or that object of desire. And then gradually that desire, it just comes back to the most primordial, fundamental desire, which is the desire to be free of all desires, right? So what happens when you just get so finished or disappointed or frustrated, you know, or when you get so mature that you understand that there is no value in anything that before previously you used to be chasing all over the place, you know? So when you come to that understanding, and then you are left with one single desire, which is the desire to understand that you are already full, whole, and complete, and you don't need anything to fulfill or to accomplish yourself. So when you come to that, what this desire for moksha is going to do? It has no longer fuel to feed from. You understand? It's just, it extinguishes. It just disappears by itself, and one is left desireless. When you are left desireless, and then your mind is in that kind of state in which this knowledge becomes very clear, but this desire for moksha is the last stressor of the mind. This is a good point as well, you know. It is a vasana, it is a kind of extroversion as long as it still agitates the mind of the inquirer. But once it has burned every other desire, it remains there, and then somehow it turns off. It extinguishes itself. You know, it's over. And then one like, okay, God, okay, Ishvara, whatever. You know, I have done everything. I have looked everywhere, and now I have this big desire, and now even this desire is proved to be useless. So I'm just in your hands, something like that. You understand? At least that's how, more or less how it happened to me. You understand? That's where Ramji comes in and says like that at the end, after you have done everything, you have all the qualifications in place and so on, at the very end, so you still have to wait for Ishvara, you know, the bless of the Lord, when they say, okay, so you have done everything and so on. And so now, you know, it is for the good of the total of the environment that you understand that somehow, so that you can have a certain effect on other people or whatever, you know. The scriptures put it on those terms very often, that in the very end we are still left to the grace of Vishwara, the grace of the Lord.
Arlindo, I had often been concerned about Mumukshutva because I thought it had to have this strong emotional component, and that's not where I live. But then I've been thinking, and I want to know if I'm wrong and if I have to develop more bhakti, but I've been thinking that could Mumukshutva take a different form, like in other words, time spent on discrimination and things like that, rather than having a sort of a bhakti nature, but would it still qualify as adequate Mumukshutva?
Totally, yeah. Well, we are jivas, and we have different configurations, you know. So some of us are more emotional, more romantic, more bhakta, and some are less. You understand? So, but this love, this devotion that we have for the truth, it is something that is superior, and it is it goes over those other kind of attitudes, mental, emotional attitudes. You just want to know the truth, and you're gonna go your way according to your nature as a jiva, you know, your secondary nature, your apparent nature as a jiva. Everybody has a different kind of structure, you know, of body-mind construct. So it's when we say that, oh no, I'm not that of a bhakta, I don't have that kind of devotional approach towards Brahman or Ishvara or whatever. So, but I have a love, I have a devotion, I have a total focus and dedication on my self-inquiry, you know, on my discrimination. I'm working on it. So this is a very beautiful kind of devotion as well, although it's not as emotional. You understand? So the goal is to convert our emotions in devotion. And this devotion not necessarily has to be very romantic. When I met Ramji, after some time, I told him that I had a lot, that usually I did a lot of bhakti and devotion and love to my teachers, to my gurus. And I told him that because when I started seeing him, I realized that around him, there was a group of people that they were very, very much intellectual, but they did not express much devotion. I felt that, you know, they're in Portland in those early days when Ranji was becoming famous. And then I shared with him that I had this love and so on. And he told me, yes, I know very well and I understand very well your apparent nature. Apparent, it was over emails on those days. We have a lot. Your apparent romantic nature. That's how he put. You know, your apparent romantic nature. It's my apparent nature, my secondary nature as a jiva, and I am a romantic guy. So therefore, I have this tendency of falling in love with my teachers. You understand? So, but it's not everybody. And then, I mean, it's these emotions that usually we are moved through our lives, you know, of I want what I want, I don't want. And then it comes all this long list of negative human emotions, you know, frustration and envy and depression and hate and, you know, and all those kinds of, all the range of grief and sorrow and so on. So all of this is a byproduct of our desires and fears being somehow blocked, you know, prevented, you know, to be fulfilled. So when we have these emotions, and then we say these emotions have to be refined to the point that they become devotion towards the field, devotion towards Ishvara. But the ultimate devotion, as we know, because we begin with Karma Yoga. When we begin with Karma Yoga, we begin seeing Ishvara in everything, which is the field, the Dharma field, and we act with that spirit of adding value, of contribution, retribution, you know, and you know how to behave, and you know that you have no control. You have a respect to Ishvara because he knows that Ishvara as the system is what has the control over our lives, and we don't know nothing. We have no control, as we can see nowadays. So we have this attitude as a Karma Yogi, and we are invited to develop this understanding, which in different degrees are going to produce, are going to convert these emotions that I want what I want. If I don't get what I want, I get like this, like that, and then, you know, the whole range of negative emotions come into play. Those emotions, which are basically my likes and dislikes being obstructed, you know, these emotions, they need to be gradually purified by understanding, of course, until it's just our actions and the results of our actions, what the field brings back to us, no longer produce that kind of mental disturbance. So this is all part of the Karma Yoga spirit. But if you tell me, Milin, that you don't have this romantic kind of devotion towards the field as you act out, maybe you don't have much karma, maybe you don't have much interaction with the field. I understood that maybe you are retired. I have people who come to me and say, I want to be a Karma Yogi, but I don't interact anymore. I'm retired, you know, I mean, I don't have a field to interact. And then I say, so, and then do your best cleaning the house, cooking the food, and dealing with your spouse, you know. So if we don't have much interaction, still we can be creative and start, you know, seeing God in your cat, in your husband, and your friends, and your food, and being thankful for another day, for the pranas, you know, operating your body for you. So this is all Ishvara working for us 24/7. So this is, but back to the ultimate devotional love we must have once we have prepared the mind is for our work of discrimination, you know, a constant study and contemplation of reflection and study again on these teachings as presented by the scriptures. So this is another form of love or devotion, you understand? That is not necessarily romantic. Ramji is not a very romantic guy, for example. And he told, I saw one time he saying that, oh, I know, I'm not very emotional. I mean, I'm not a good hugger, he said one time. Don't come to hug me because I'm not a good hugger. You know, I know some people tell me I could use a little bit more of emotion and so on, but I'm fine like that. I was built like this, I'm happy like this, and so on. So every one of us is different. It's a different configuration of the energies.
Thank you so much, Orlando. I'm just going to lay that doubt down and it's over with. So thank you.
Let me know if more comes up.
Yeah, Linda. It seems the more the deeper we get into the practice, the more the ego arises and ignorance arises, trying to stop us, almost trying to sabotage our practice.
And who's
I
this
kind of
us?
liken it to Sorry?
Doesn't matter. I was going to ask you who is
Can you
this
repeat the
us?
question?
This,
Who is us? I'm talking about the jiva,
okay, as the jiva, yeah.
the one who thinks he's a jiva.
Okay, the eternal jiva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems the deeper we go, the more we get attacked by the demons. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, if I understand it, you're talking about knowledge is this eternal, beginningless fight between knowledge and ignorance. So the more the mind assimilates, the intellect assimilates this knowledge, this spiritual knowledge, this scriptural knowledge, and then one becomes wiser and one begins living from that platform of wisdom. But yet, this ignorance is a big fighter, it does not give up very easily. It keeps coming back. And the ego, when we talk about the ego fundamentally is this sense of ownership, doership, and ownership, authorship, is this very infantile aspect of our experience, that says, I am the guy and I can go and get it. I have control, and I am beautiful and I am great. Every one of us have a little bit of that on different scale. Oh, we look at ourselves in the mirror and say, wow, you are really great. You're a little bit older, but you're still so beautiful and so on. So this aspect of our existence, of our experience, is this little ego. The ego is infantile. It thinks that he is an independent entity and he has really control and he can claim that it's mine, it's I and mine, and I do this. And as I have said several times, we don't know anything. We don't know how to do anything. We don't know how to breathe, how to digest our food. We don't know anything. Ishvara does everything to us. So the ego is this aspect of our experience, of our mind, let's say, that somehow owns one's experience, and takes either shame or pride. Shame or pride is the name of the game. This owning the experience is, as a result, it brings pride when we succeed and brings shame when we fail. You understand? So it's all about that. And it's all based on the misunderstanding that I am this piece of equipment. I am this medium, right? So this is the ego. The ego is this entity, which is definitely an entity. In fact, is the only experiencing entity. All experience that we have in this realm called media is through the jiva. It has a purpose. Okay? So what is wisdom? Wisdom is to understand that the jiva is not just a jiva. The jiva is consciousness. You understand? Operating through this equipment, this medium. This is wisdom. When it's really clear, again and again, over and over, we go to our discrimination. Once it becomes really clear, and then what happens is that the sense of ownership, authorship, doership, of owning, claiming everything to be my possession, my production, I made it, my doings, and so on. So when that starts being looked and seen through, and then this sense of I and mine begins disappearing, that's wisdom. You understand? So now, this is not something that happens overnight. This self-knowledge, even the self-knowledge, it does not necessarily cancel or neutralize the sense of ownership, authorship, and doership, the sense of I, mine, of the ego. And the self-recognition, the self-knowledge it only fructifies, it only becomes good to the extent that it begins canceling or neutralize this aspect of our experience that is based on that misconception. I am this body-mind construct, and I am the one who owns my experience. I am the one who produced my experience, and I have control over everything, and at least I try my best, and I keep experiencing these feelings of pride and shame. So this ignorance is beginningless, Mark. It really, it's not so easy to be completely neutralized, canceled. Okay, it takes some time. A lot of the people sometimes they have experience of self-recognition. It's very clear, and I had that. I went through that. I thought I was enlightened and whatnot, and then when I saw there was some ignorance surfacing and pushing me around, literally, and I was totally confused because I was not in contact with Vedanta, and I did not have any teaching, really, a body of teaching. And I was just like, oh my God, I know who I am. I know I'm just pure consciousness, and still there is this ignorance pressing me, and making me feel like frustrated and angry and irritated. So what is that? I should be free from all of that. Why? Because ignorance is a tough fight. To fight ignorance, it's something not easily done. Okay, to neutralize, to cancel all this tendency, which is nothing but the sense of I am a person, which is the ego, which defines the ego. So it takes some time, it takes some work, dedication, persistence. You have been saying, you have been bringing it up lately, Mark, and but the fact is that we need to have those pre-qualifications in place. And one of them is patience.
Yeah.
This is a tough fight. Understand? This is the ultimate battle to remove this. Ignorance is widespread. It's all pervasive. Mithya is maintained by this fundamental ignorance. The jiva is an individual, and he has a lot of things to do and avoid to do, and the whole universe is maintained by this production of Maya. Vidyas, and then avidya, and then jivas acting out of this ignorance and producing to Ishvara this macrocosm body of vasanas by which Ishvara keeps playing all its jivas. So this is a system that has existed forever, and it's not easily or quickly or rapidly canceled. It takes some time. So we need to have those pre-qualifications in place. So the number one is humility, as I often put, and then trust in the teachings is a valid teaching, trust in the teacher, of course, as well. And then patience, because if we don't have patience, and then we quit. And I see people quitting very, very often, because it's a life's project, spiritual growth, spiritual freedom. It's something. I mean, I wrote a satsang later on, lately, that says that the pursuit of moksha is the best game in town. I don't know if you guys read it, but it's in my page, Facebook. And that was like, that was a conclusion of a satsang that I wrote in response to someone that, I mean, it is what it is. It takes enormous effort to gain permanent freedom, to permanent satisfaction. And if you don't like it, you can just do something else. But yet, this is the best game in town. What else? What is better to do in life than, growing spiritually, developing a purer and a happier mind, day by day, brick by brick, you build a happy life. There is nothing better. So, and then we should never be frustrated because ignorance is still pushing me around. Ignorance is the boss here, you know. It's really, it's widespread. It's pervading media all over the place, and everywhere there will be other jivas reinforcing this ignorance in us as well, you know, by language, by relationships and attitudes. So we have nothing else to do but keeping our minds until this knowledge is clear. And then once this self-knowledge is clear, and then it's a easy sailing, and then the vasanas, they surface, the old vasanas, the ignorance-based vasanas, they surface, and they don't even come to life. You never engage them. They don't get engaged and expressed. You know, you don't need to. You just watch them surface, and they just disappear, and like that, they start drying out. You know, but until this knowledge is really, really clear, a doubtless knowledge, as we say, you know, and then these vasanas, this ignorance-based vasanas, they are a little bit more challenging. But it's a nice play to fight in a nice way, to fight, you know, not getting frustrated, not getting exhausted, but just applying knowledge against this ignorance kind piece of vasanas that come, you know. So we just need to keep using this knowledge to neutralize those vasanas as they surface. You understand? And I know that it's easier said than done, because we cannot press the button pause and then we go to my book. So I try to remember this teaching or that teaching. How am I going to neutralize this piece of ignorance now, you know? That's why you hear me say often that, you know, we have to really assimilate this knowledge until it's alive in our mind. And the knowledge that is alive in our mind is always at our disposal, just neutralizing ignorance as it surfaces, because it keeps surfacing. Just imagine how many vasanas we have from previous life, from this life, results of a lot of actions and combinations of actions with the field that still are here to fructify, or inner stuff that is still putting some pressure on my conscious mind, you know, things from my subconscious. So it's a never-end kind of play, you know, and we need this knowledge to become really clear and alive in our minds. So that's why it takes a lot of work, you know? And if someone appears to have come to that point without any effort, it means that it is someone who has put a lot of effort in previous births. So some people, they just they pop up free and beautiful, like Ramana. I mean, yet Ramana stayed 20 years in deep contemplation or samadhi or whatever he was doing, you know. So, but if some people they get it effortlessly, it's because they have put a lot of efforts in previous births, you know. There's no way around that. So,
Yeah.
and enjoy the game.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, enjoy the process.
Yeah.
You don't want to complain, oh, here's ignorance and da. Say, oh, nice, I'm playing a nice game right now. It's me and ignorance, you know. And you just enjoy it. Playing by the rules.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Arvindo. Very nice.
You're welcome.
Can I paste the text from your Facebook page in the chat so everyone can see it? The post you mentioned?
Oh, it's too long. It's better not, Carol. It's
too long? Okay.
Yeah, it's going to interrupt the class right now. Thank you.
I'm struck by your
with us, Carol, with your beautiful smile. Lovely to have you guys with us. To have you with us. Happy girl.
I'm struck by, you say more about ignorance being limitlessness, beginning. It's no beginning, no end to ignorance. So I'm kind of reflecting on that.
Yeah, we say, the scriptures say that ignorance is beginningless. It's beginningless in relation, in reference to what? To the creation, to the manifest. Okay. So what it says about ignorance, it's always present, sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest as potential, as seed. So when it's unmanifest, it's just the macrocausal body, you know, or in another words, it's the night of Brahman, as the scriptures put, you know. So it's either manifest or not manifest, but it's always there, either as the seed or as the full tree, you know, manifest, the cosmos, the universe. It's always there, but it does not say, the scriptures do not say that ignorance does not end. The scriptures say that ignorance ends, but not the microcosmic ignorance, not the macrocosmic ignorance, but the microcosmic ignorance. In other words, the ignorance of the individual soul comes to an end. Okay? The macrocosmic ignorance, it remains. That's why this idea that some people like to dream that one day we are all going to be free and enlightened collectively, you know, because there will be a kind of a shift of energy or whatever, that everybody's going to go to another. So the scriptures simply say that no, that moksha is an individual phenomenon, and it's linked to one's personal individual effort to grow. You know, I mean, and it makes totally sense. You cannot imagine someone with a very raw, gross, insensitive mind, you know, tamasic mind or whatever. You cannot imagine him, you know, easily getting into a realm in which, you know, there is this beautiful energy of love and peace and clarity and so on. So it does not fit together. So the mind needs to be prepared for that kind of loka, kind of experience, you know. So one thing is the ignorance, the collective, the macrocosm ignorance that projects this universe, and the other are the individual souls that are just small souls that are all interconnect with what some scriptures call the overall soul, Ishvara, the macrocosm body of Ishvara and the causal body. So all souls are connected to the overall soul, and but it's this individual soul that can come to moksha, to liberation, or can come to cancel, to kill, like Krishna used to say to Arjuna, you know, take your sword and just, or your weapons and your shield and fight. This is all symbolism. It's to fight this fundamental ignorance, this beginningless ignorance. The Gita is all about this fight between knowledge and ignorance, between light and darkness, knowledge and ignorance, you understand? So that is the process of all jivas. All jivas, we are all here to gradually grow until we can be over with our personal ignorance. It's not really personal in the sense that, you know, it's all over the place.
The analogy I'm kind of playing with as you talk is like before Vedanta, I felt like I needed to calm the ocean, like the ocean being my life or the life of others, but I needed to calm that. And now I'm realizing that I am the calm within the ocean. So
Sorry, I did not understand, Dave. What you say, I am a what? Before you thought?
Before I thought I was trying to calm the ocean. I was trying to control life. And
Okay. You want to control the ocean.
my desire was to control life. And I mean,
Yeah.
very altruistically, I mean, I wanted to do it. I wanted to write for my children. I wanted to write for my spouse. I wanted to write for my friends and family and everything like that. So I had all good intentions, but it was like
Right.
for me to try and, you know, manage and control all that and handle that. And so before I was trying to, I was trying to calm the ocean. And now I realize that as a jiva, really what I'm thinking about is I'm the calm within the ocean. So the ocean is going to be the ocean. It's going to be stormy, and it's going to be turbulent, and it's going to be calm. It's going to be all those different things. But that's not up to me. The only thing that's up to me is the calm that I can be within that ocean.
Yeah, that's my difficult. This word, I don't know that word. I am the calm. What is that?
The calm, C-A-L-M, the calm. The
C-A.
the
Oh, the calm, the
C-A-L-M.
calmness in the ocean. Okay, got it. I thought you were meaning something.
So I mean, trying to be, we have sattva. So I'd like to be sattva, mostly sattva energy.
Yeah.
The ocean is mostly tamasic and rajasic.
Yeah. So the field is moved by rajas mostly. Rajas is the energy that keeps things moving all the time, and then it requires some sattva, and tamas also is integral part of all of that. So if we want to live well in this ocean, we need to develop more clarity, focus and subtlety of mind and discrimination and so on. So we need to develop some more sattva. So now you say that you do not want to control the ocean because that is an impossible mission. It's a possible job because the ocean is under the control of Ishvara, right? But at least I can participate in this ocean with a sattvic mind, with a calm mind, with a calmness. With a calm mind, at least I can navigate, I can transact in this ocean without much trouble, without much turbulence, Yes, that's the picture. It's impossible to control the field. It takes some time for us to understand and give it up. But once we give it up, and then it's so much easier, because you never really get much concerned about what's going on, because I mean it all belongs to Ishvara, It does not. I have no saying. I have no power. It belongs to Ishvara, the field. So I'm here to take whatsoever the field brings and interact with it. The more clear my mind, the better I'm going to be interacting with the field. This stimulus and response kind of cycle, constant. Kind of game of life. Which is it's better if the mind is more clear, definitely more sattvic. So therefore, we want a sattvic mind because that makes our life easier. But mostly, fundamentally, we want a sattvic mind to come out of the ocean altogether. You understand? How are we going to come out of the ocean altogether? We don't want to live in the ocean, very happy life with a nice sailing boat and so on. No, we want to come out of the ocean. We want to come out of the ocean by understanding that I am the substratum of the ocean. The ocean, in that case, is Ishvara. So we come out of the ocean by understanding I am the substratum of Ishvara and the Jiva and everything that is in the field. So I am water. So the moment that you understand that you are the water, and then you are free of the ocean, and still you're going to be moving around with your sailing boat, but with no longer with the anxiety derived from this notion that, I am this little sailing boat. You understand? So the sattva must serve the purpose to facilitate our inquiry, our discrimination, until we understand that we are water. The sattva is not meant to just facilitate our transactions in the world. It also will facilitate our transactions in the world. Our clear mind is going to understand better what's going on and make better readings of situations and offering better response. But the ultimate goal of seeker of moksha is to develop sattva so that he can understand that he is water.
So sattva is really part of the journey.
It's the most important thing. We cannot gain moksha, self-knowledge moksha, without a dominance of sattva in our subtle body. We need to cultivate and develop more and more sattva. But then the trick is that you don't want to be stuck in sattva, because if you begin to develop more sattva, you're going to begin living a happier life. And then you may think, okay, I'm satisfied with that. You know what I'm saying? That's called stuck in sattva. You are more brilliant, you are more clear, you are more focused, you are more productive, and so on. And then you're going to start having a lot more punya. No, you want sattva because you want to inquire, to know your true fundamental nature. So, and then once you know who you are, guess what? Your mind naturally, as a byproduct, becomes more sattvic. Why? Because once you know who you are, the implied meaning of that self-knowledge, that I know that I am and my nature is ananta. I'm whole, I'm full, I'm complete. I don't need to be all excited, running to gain thing and running to avoid, and I need this, I need that, give me this, give me that. All this mental agitation ceases with self-knowledge. So with self-knowledge, we develop as a bonus, almost as a bonus, we have even more sattva, you know? Yeah. The mind becomes more sattvic naturally.
So you're really speaking to the last sheath. To that we can't stay. We have that's the final sheath. That's the final reveal. Is to move beyond.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
You know, don't just reside in sattva, but to move beyond that, to remove that final sheath.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be in an Anandamaya kosha, you know, and then develop a relationship and get stuck there. You just need to move over. You know that is the intermediary stage. I'm not cultivating, developing sattva and maintaining sattva just for the sake of sattva. I'm doing that for the sake of inquiring to know clearly and free of any doubt, to know with conviction, with certainty who I am. That's why we need the sattva. I wrote a very, very nice satsang yesterday. Actually, I wrote in response to Mario. Did you read it, Mario?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted my Facebook yesterday late night, and it's much about that, you know. I mean, it's so easy to be stuck in this experiential aspect that's produced by sattvic mind. You know, it's so seductive. So, but our goal is moksha, is freedom. Yes.
And there is a saying, I think that Ramji said it or wrote it in a book, stuck in sattva. That was like a big trap, just to be so sattvic, so peaceful and blissful, to think this is it. And it is not, because there is no real knowledge. Nothing happened, just you are sattvic, very sattvic, due to sadhana, due to yoga practice, due to eating properly, living peacefully, and at one point that seems to be it. That's all. Like, I'm satisfied, I'm living peaceful life, everything is good, vasanas don't bother me so much, and that can really look like something like self-realization. That is a trap, and I think that seeker can live in that sattvic trap for years and without any real knowledge, until vasanas is, of course, then it's clear that there is no real knowledge.
Yeah, that's very common. That's why we say that only by knowledge we can really free ourselves.
Yeah, Yeah.
That's what I said in what I wrote yesterday, you know,
Yeah.
experiential freedom or moksha, enlightenment is a problem because it does not last, you know, because the mental condition, this configuration of the mind, it's shifting from moment to moment.
Yeah.
If you rely on your mind to remain sattvic, let's think that your enlightenment or your happiness
Yeah.
depends on
Yeah.
you. It's a bad setup.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yourself up for frustration because it changed, like everything in nature changes. So we need to develop some sattva, knowing that that is shifting and changing, but somewhat a sattvic mind, so that we can do our inquiry until this knowledge is clear. Once we have the knowledge, and then we are good. When the knowledge is really clear, firm, and and hard, firm, okay, it's always present and it's not forgotten. Okay? And then the person is no longer dependent on the mental condition because he knows that he is consciousness and I am beyond, you know, before or beyond the mental conditions of my, you know, my mental condition. I am consciousness. Okay? So I'm not my mental condition. So
Yes.
yeah, when he sees the mind a little bit more tamasic or rajasic, it does not get affected. His mind does not go like, oh, it shouldn't be. No, I am the light, and I have established my identity as the light of consciousness, and I'm equally shining in the mind of this jiva, regardless of this guna configuration. I'm all shine, and I, the jiva, have established my identity as the light that is always shining in the mind of this jiva and in all subtle bodies, regardless of the configurations or the proportions of those gunas. So once that knowledge is clear, who cares about my? Of course, one may have a preference. I prefer to have my mind more more sattvic. But so what? If my mind is tamasic, you just go to bed and have a nap, right?
Yeah.
And if your mind is rajasic, go to the garden and plant something and flowers and or clean the kitchen, you know, do something for your spouse. You say, I'm a rajasic. Okay, let me go and do something here. So you just follow your guna nature, you know, and you just let it to Ishvara and you live your life. You know you are not your mental condition. And that has a huge effect. The effect is that the moment that you leave it alone, the mind is turning more and more into a sattvic because all that kind of desires and fears are no longer operating self-realized mind. It's desires and fears that, you know, rajas and tamas, they start fading, they start disappearing, they start drying out, you know. They are there because of the rajas and tamas, they are there because of my likes and dislikes, my desires and fears, you know. So that's the the bonus that comes with this self-knowledge.
But then, Arlino, how it is possible to spend years with teachers and be overwhelmed and radiant and all, and nothing really happened? You haven't moved 1 inch in a sense of gaining some valuable knowledge. This is like phenomena to me. You just you can spend like whole your life with inspirational teacher, having that deep feeling of contentment, of self-realization, whatever, and not gaining
Yeah, it's
really, or gaining really little for that. That is like phenomena for me.
Yeah.
It's like really how that is even possible.
Yeah, it is. This is the description of experiential enlightenment. Experiential enlightenment is not freedom because it depends. It depends on the Sangha, it depends on the class, Vedanta class, it depends on the guru, it depends on certain circumstances. If it depends on certain circumstances, or certain people, certain things, it's not moksha.
No.
Right? And this experiential freedom is what most people are searching for in the spiritual world. 99% of the people, they want this experiential freedom. They look down on Vedanta because they think that the real thing is not knowledge, but it's the experience.
It,
It's okay. If you want to go about chasing sattva as an experience, you can go. But at least don't call that freedom or enlightenment, because it's not freedom. You depend on so many factors so that you have that feel good experience. I mean, people go into these things, they feel like that, and then they lose it, and then they go back to the teacher, they go back to the sangha, they go back to the workshop, they go back again and again and again. They only feel full, whole, and complete, or enlightened, or good about themselves, satisfied, when they are in that kind of environment. You understand? So even with our Vedanta contemplations and studies, we need to understand that in the beginning we're gonna need the books and the teacher and the classes and all of that, but our goal is to free ourselves from any dependence. We don't want to be dependent on the books. The best thing is just give up all your books. Just distribute. It's already worked for me. Now I can give all my books away and so on. You don't need the teacher, you don't need everything, because now, now I can say I'm free. My freedom, my certainty in respect to what I am Brahman, is something that's alive in me. It's doubtless at this point. So I don't need to lean on anything to keep my Aham Brahmasmi. You understand? So we lean on things until we are still not sure about my Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. You understand? But once this is a certainty, a clarity, it's a direct, a paroksha yani, direct knowledge, and then we don't lean on anything, we don't depend. And this is freedom. But all this experience that you were talking in your email to me and in the past as well, this is usually an effect of a sattvic mind, and this sattvic mind, and a lot of the time it depends on the sangha, depends on the environment, the guru and the sangha. And some people they generate sattva on their own effort as a yogi. Some people they manage to develop this sattva, you understand, and then they leave, but still they are going to be stuck in sattva. And what is the downside of being a yog stuck in sattva under your own personal individual effort? Is that you're missing out in life, and the moment that you suspend your sadhana, you begin feeling limited, because that mental condition start changing, disappearing. You understand? So in any case, you are never really free. I met one guy in California. I stayed associated with him for about a year in the very, very stage of my process before self-recognition took place. And he was a nice guy, but for him, enlightenment was all about an experience of the self. You need to go very deep in silence, and then experience. So this guy had a small sangha there, and his sangha and his seminars, it was not seminar, it was retreats. The retreats used to be like 2, 3, 4 hours in silence, every session, 2, 3 people that were more like that, they would come early and then sit, and the teachers there in meditation, in samadhi for hours and hours. And then comes the time, okay, the satsang begins at 10, and then at 10 o'clock he opened his eyes, and then they start saying very few words, vague and abstract here and there for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and then more silence. Do that kind of thing that, to impress people. And then that was over. And then and again. And the guy, I became a little friendly with him. In fact, he was very, very much crazy for me, because he thought that I was the disciple that he was waiting for his entire life. He came to me one time and he said, I have been waiting for you my whole life. now you're gonna live with me for the rest of your life. I said, oh, where did I end up now, man? How I got really scared when he said that. I just laughed.
God.
You want to own me? This guy used to meditate for 10, 12 hours every day to feel good about himself. I used to go to talk to him in his house, and then he would give me 10, 15, 30 minutes, 10, 15 at most. And then that would disturb his mind, and he says, enough, enough. And most of the time, if I want to talk to him, there was no much talk because he want eye contact, like. And then I would talk a little bit, and then he said, no, I don't. It's enough, enough. I want to go back to my son. It's like just talking disturbs the guy, literally. You understand? What kind of freedom is that?
No kind of freedom.
He's
No,
missing out. He cannot do talk, he cannot do this, everything. So to give you an idea, when he goes to his satsangs, when his satsangs are a little bit more popular, he puts the first row, the second row, the third row, his inner circle, because the energy of the newcomers affect him. You understand? What kind of freedom is that?
No kind of freedom. No, whatsoever. No.
So freedom is to know that you are that which was already free, which is free, will always be free, which is what everybody is, and that's why everybody is already moksha. Moksha is the nature of every one of us, because we are already free. You understand? It's just a question of fighting or playing, a display of knowledge and ignorance, of knocking down or canceling or neutralizing all these wrong notions about what we are until it's clear. Until it's clear. I mean, everybody in the spiritual world have heard, you are consciousness and you are already free. Everybody heard that.
Everybody.
But who really believes in that? It takes work. It takes work
to
really to neutralize, to cancel, to remove all those notions about I am this, I am that, I am my experience, I'm small, I'm limited, I'm inadequate, and so on. So all these notions that that are the jiva notions about himself as a body-mind construct, they are so ingrained, entrenched in their minds. So it takes more than just hearing or listening. Oh, you are consciousness and you are free, and nothing of this here is real, and so on. No, it takes work to establish this knowledge until this knowledge is really clear and alive. Yeah.
It reminds me of this, I don't know, metaphor or analogy, but I don't know if it was Ramji, that there's this horse that's always tied to a post. And he thinks that, when he's tied to the post, he can't go anywhere. He's figured that out.
Yeah.
But then you can untie that horse and he will not leave. Because that idea that he's bound is, it's so funny. It just reminded me of that.
Yeah, it's a nice, thank you for reminding me of that one as well. Yeah, so we are free and we are still looking for freedom. Isn't it funny? But that's the name of the game. Why? Going back to Mark. Because ignorance is so smart, so clever, so complex, so beautiful and, full of tricks and so seductive. And it takes some work.
Yeah.
There's nothing better.
It's very slippery.
There's nothing.
It's difficult to grab hold of. You can't just get rid of it.
You can. It's just a question of a little time and persistence. And don't whine at it because you're going to give it more and more reality and power, you know.
Yeah.
You have to see ignorance for what it is. And I think it's so good at disguising itself that if you can be objective, I mean, it helps a lot to just
Yeah.
see ignorance for what it is.
Yeah. Well, we need to identify when we are being operated by ignorance, and there are some red flags, you know, and usually it's when we feel uncomfortable, irritable, you know, when we are not really at ease with ourselves. So invariably, you know, there is some ignorance in operation, you know, concerning preoccupations, anticipations, fears, desires, everything that makes us feel uncomfortable is a sign, it's a signal that, oh, ignorance is surfacing here, you know, and we need to be able to identify when it's coming so that we can go there with our Vedanta laser, zzz, you know, and we just kill it. You just remember our mantras, our teaching, and say, hey, who told you that I need to go and do this and do that and gain this and accomplish that, or running to avoid this, avoid that? So, I mean, I don't. Okay? Of course, it does not mean that we never move from our couch or bed. So, no, there are many things that we want to do happily, but we want to do things not as a means to resolve, to fulfill ourselves. We want to do things because life is about doing. Jivas, they were designed to do things. But we have to do not as a means to, you know, fulfill myself, to resolve my mind. No, I want to do things because this is the name of the game. It's interacting with the field and giving something back to the field over and over again. And then I'm going to do my roles. I'm going to do what I'm designed to do, what I have the ability to do, and so on. But I'm not a doing machine and I'm not a real doer. You know, I'm just following my nature and I know that it's all being orchestrated by Ishwar. So, but we don't want to be just doing things under the impression that if I do this and then, and only then, I'm going to feel complete, satisfied, and okay, and content, and so on. Because our nature is already satisfaction, fullness, contentment, and peace, and so on. We need to tap into our nature, and the way to tap into our nature is by going through these teachings of Vedanta as presented in our scriptures with the help of a teacher, you know, if possible. So that's the only way. Right? Anybody else? Claudio, you have been very quiet lately, huh?
Yeah. I was hearing because I have not a lot of words in these last weeks because now with our last talk the other week with the fact that I understand a little bit that I am always present, that I recognize this vasana that I had for sattva, like we talked today, you know, I was searching sattva.
Yeah.
Now I understand better all this, so I appreciate very much this. And so I don't have words, you know. I see.
That's
wow,
okay.
it's
Yeah,
interesting,
nice.
you know.
It's good
Of course,
to know you.
I'm dealing with this passion. This is, yes, because I'm training this passion. I see, because I had, you know, sometimes you had some tamasic day, And so you have to deal with this passion. You have to recognize okay, this is a moment where my mind is a little bit disturbed, but I follow the logic, you know. I say, okay, this is okay, because if I am sattvic, I'm calm, but it's not different from this, really not different. It's all objects that appears in me. So I train this passion.
That's very good. Yeah.
I train this passion.
Yeah,
of course, I'm caught by, sometimes I'm disturbed, and so I train this passion.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Whatsoever objective experience, you know, it's there to reflect to yourself your own conscious existence. It happens within our consciousness.
Yeah.
Our light. We are the light that illumines and reveals every object of experience. So we should be equanimous in regards to object of experience, because whatsoever objects, they are going to be reflecting or by inference, or even there is even a direct feel to it, you know, that I am the light of consciousness. But in any case, everything is there to prove that I am, because everything is being known, you know, in this conscious subject principle that I am, you know, conscious existence.
So I'm very happy for Vedanta, for the logic of Vedanta. I'm very
It's working
impressed,
for you.
you know?
I'm very
Yes, it's
glad.
working.
I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the process, you know. I say, wow, it's very interesting. It's wow.
No, you have to enjoy yourself, because Vedanta is up to you.
Yes, of course. Now I understand better what knowledge means, you know. Now I understand, okay, it's knowledge. It's not experience, it's knowledge. So
very nice. So whenever you have some time, if you haven't read yet, read the email, the posting I placed, the satsang I post on Facebook. It sheds some more light about this.
Yeah. Okay.
Of today. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if there is no further contribution, questions, we usually, Mario, we do this the satsangs on Thursday for 1 hour before some of us, especially the incarbonated, they still need to go and work.
Yeah.
So they have to stay a little bit longer, but only as long as there is some question or interest. Otherwise, we meet next Monday, right? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We meet again soon. Bye-bye.
Grazie. Ciao.
Grazie. Ciao, ciao.
Goodbye.
Arrivederci. A dopo.
Thanks, Arvindo. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Mark.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye,
Ciao.
Mario.
Bye, Lindo. See you.
Bye-bye.